Ask George is brought to you in association with International Cricket Tours. ICT are specialists in cricket-based holidays with a personal touch. So if you're looking at going to the Ashes, to New Zealand or to Sri Lanka, look no further than International Cricket Tours.
Hello and welcome to Headingley after a fantastic test match which England won by 5 wickets over India to start the series. I am joined, as always, for Ask George by the chief correspondent George DeBell and Melinda Farrell. We will start off with a question from Will Cooling, who asked,
Hello, Will.
how the hell did they do that? They make it look so routine, ordinary, easy. It was anything but.
Yeah, I think that's a really well put question. That's exactly right. The whole day, England felt calm and assured and comfortable. It actually felt inevitable as early as the morning session, which is ridiculous. And it says a lot for how well they went about it, how well Crawley and Duckett batted in particular. And also, let's be honest, how much of a shambles India were, because they were a bit of a shambles today.
I just think it was brilliant. It was so smart the way that they were so aware of the match situation, which bowlers were on, when to absorb pressure, when to attack. It's the stuff that they've often spoken about, but I just think we saw, nothing's ever perfect, but it was absolutely brilliant the way that they did it. They saw off Bumrah for spells. They only went at about 2 and over in the first half hour of the first 2 sessions. And then, you're right, it was just so calm. And I just think that was an outstanding chase from start to finish.
Yeah, I think George's piece yesterday, which I highly recommend reading if you haven't yet, really put it well, is that there was a feeling, inevitability, that has been created by this Bazball, by this style of play, which is great. But you mentioned India, and Matthew Wright asked, how much praise can we give to India for their part in a thrilling test? A showcase of great batting, both traditional in Rahul and modern in Pant, contributing to vibrant cricket and a healthy sense of movement across the 5 days.
Go on, I can feel you want to say something.
No, I'm about to sneeze.
Oh! I thought you were on the verge of wisdom.
I was trying so hard not to
I should have known better. Look, there were some really good moments from India. I thought Rahul played beautifully in the second innings. Shall I give you a somewhat controversial difference between the sides? This won't go down very well. Pant took 22 balls to go from 95 to 100. Slowed down, focusing on the milestone. You wouldn't get that from this England. You wouldn't. I thought that India didn't look like a team and England did. I thought that the fielding today was... there's no way that a side with Virat Kohli fields like that. I mean, not just because he lifted the standard, because he demanded the standard was better. And I think that there were balls that, I can't remember who it was actually, a ball sort of passed someone at mid-on, sort of misfielded, and he lay on the ground feeling sorry for himself rather than running after it. Not good enough. So I thought that India should have put this game beyond England about half a dozen times, 430 for 3 in the first innings. And they didn't. And so, yeah, there was some really good individual cricket, but it was individual cricket, and England were the better team. And I think the spirit and belief engendered by Ben Stokes and co, that was the difference.
There were so many things in what you mentioned. Well, that was what I was writing about the other day, about how the big Kohli and Virat size hole that's there.
Massive, isn't it?
It is. And Ashwin should always
Not in terms of run scoring, in terms of spirit and fight.
And the fielding standards.
Oh, yeah.
That is absolutely a factor. Look, it'll be interesting because when they look at that team, and if you look at this game as a whole, the way that England did that chase where they were seeing off Bumrah for spells, they've kind of seen him off for a whole test now as well. They've got a whole lot of things to look at. They've got to sort out their fielding. They've got to work out how they balance that team. And they've got to get some massive fight back. And it's only Shubman Gill's first test in charge, and that's always going to be very, very difficult. But yeah, it just felt like, yes, England fought their way back into this game, but gee willikers, India also let them back into it.
The Gill thing's really interesting because at the end of the first day, I thought he'd nailed this captaincy thing. They batted beautifully. But today, it wasn't clear who was leading the side. Well, it looked like Rahul was setting the field, didn't it? And they didn't look very happy with each other. They looked as if they were kind of bickering with each other. it was a real chastening day, and they've got a lot of thinking to do before the next game. There's obviously a lot of individual talent to come back to the question. No one's doubting that. But they weren't playing as a team, and I think that, I don't know, I haven't seen an India team play like that for a long time.
This was a big win for England, but it feels like it was a bigger loss for India just because of the manner of it.
Yeah.
And part of that was the fact that the low order offered no runs, 9 runs offered.
Across 2 innings?
Across 2 innings by
8 batters.
By 8 batters, that's poor. But Josh Tongue played a part in that. And George Young asks, is there a case to be made for Josh Tongue as player of the match? Arguably made the difference.
If you're Josh Tongue's mum, I mean, look, he did brilliantly. You make a point. He did clearing up the tail, and that's a job. It's a big job, and Lord knows how many times we've seen England struggle to do that. So it's important. But, Ben Duckett just got 149 in the 4th innings. They've just pulled off the 10th biggest run chase in Test history. But I think, to go back to the question, actually, it was a complete team performance just about, wasn't it? Just about everyone, I think, contributed at some stage. You can go through the side, because Zach Crawley's just played a terrific innings there. Chris Wokes is batting, they don't get parity without that. All sorts of things contributed to this. And Josh Tongue absolutely should be very proud of his performance at the end of the day, but I'm not sure about player of the match.
No, I think the player of the match thing was right, but I absolutely go back to that. It's not just England. So many teams don't have a mop. And England do. They've got a mop and Duckett, as we keep saying. But to have someone that can come in and blast away a tail if you feel confident. He always had confidence in going away, in that he did that as well. I'm sure he wants to take some top order wickets as well. They're going to take those at any time. But it's a huge part of it, because you don't get a team out if you can't bowl out the tail.
Absolutely, he's done it in county cricket as well this season as well. He's found ways to take a lot of wickets very quickly, and that is a very good skill. JB asks, considering we all thought Stokes had gone mad for deciding to bowl first on a road, well, you can come to that when I finish asking the question. On a road in 30-degree heat, do we have to wait until a match is finished before we decide what's right and wrong?
Well, not always. Not in Brisbane. whatever year that was. But to be fair, we said at the end of the first day, and I did write about it, that I didn't think it was the wrong decision. I don't think they bowled brilliantly, and India did bat really well, but I didn't think it was the wrong decision. And the stats were quite compelling. Now, I admit that there were moments today when I thought, is the pitch going to deteriorate so much that actually batting last is going to become a huge disadvantage? But I don't think many of the media actually were critical of it. I think Michael Vaughan was. He said it was staggering. But I think he might be the only person. Now I'm going to fall out with Michael Vaughan. That ship may have sailed. So I kind of reject the premise of the question, in that I don't think we did think it was a bad decision, did we? We thought the execution was poor.
Maybe that's conflating what a lot of social media chatter was about, because there were a lot of people who were saying that on social media.
There were, but we can't be responsible for that.
But maybe it's a little bit like with toss decisions. It's like the old adage of waiting till both teams have batted on the pitch.
I know, but that's so sitting on the fence as well, isn't it?
It is, but that's why I always have splinters in my bottom, because I'm full of caveats.
Look, to sit on the fence requires balance, and that's a good thing. Of course it is. And I think that on this occasion we were fairly balanced, actually. I think most of the media were. So, Stokes, as so often, kind of got it right, didn't he?
Yeah, he did keep saying, that's one thing he did say in the press conference, is that Test match is played over 5 days, and as we saw, it developed into a nice chase for England. Simon Stokes asks, I know they only really make real money in England, but this match has shown this is the best format and is worth investing in. How can you not enjoy a game like that?
Yeah, well, you're right. I mean, I think Test cricket makes money lots of places, but it was brilliant, wasn't it? It was an absolute joy. I'm lucky to be here.
I thought it was absolutely fantastic all the way through. It was so absorbing, and particularly the fact that we came here on day 5 really thinking...
Not knowing.
Believing that actually England could probably chase it down, knowing that, if you go by history, you might be looking at England all out for sort of 250, 270, or that there might be rain and it might end up a draw, because the only way it was going to be a draw was if rain took enough time out of it.
Yeah.
And that
Oh, we were so lucky with the rain, weren't we?
Oh my God, we were so lucky. But I think that really says it all. When you come to a test after 4 days of brilliant entertainment and the balance shifting one way or another, and you're still feeling that way, and it's absolutely enthralling all the way to the very end.
Ali Martin was just mentioning that it was the 6th time that England have chased down 250 or more, which is incredible. I don't think any team's ever done that before. So when you do it that often, it's not aberrational, is it? It's just what they do.
And by the way, they chased down that massive score. England hit 3 sixes in that entire chase, and 2 of them were in the final over.
And long may that compelling cricket continue. We do go to Edgbaston next, and James W. asks, does Archer, Joffa that is, walk straight back into the England side? He's been decent against Durham.
I don't know. I haven't seen enough of it. I watched a bit of him and thought he looked okay. A lot of watching Joffa at the moment is deciding how he's recovered afterwards, and I don't know. I mean, he gave an interview where he seemed content and comfortable, but I think he only bowled 4 overs today. So I don't think there's any hurry. I might be, I don't know.
Better to wait a game too long than go a game too early with Drew for Archer, I reckon.
Final question from us at Headingley today from Alan Hyam. Do you think
I just want to tell you this, but we've just had to stop. There was a fantastic blooper. I very much hope you get to see it at some stage.
Do you think 4-day tests are a good idea to manage schedule demands, or might we lose something special in a desire to manage workloads and costs?
Yeah, I mean, a really good question, and hello, Alan. Part of the problem with the whole course of cricket is that we don't put cricket first. We talk about money and finance and the convenience for broadcasters and the rigging crew and all these things. I'm sorry, that shouldn't be anywhere near. Get the game right and everything, all the finances and stuff will follow. And yeah, this was a compelling advert for Test cricket and 5-day Test cricket at that. And all those people who are calling for it to be changed, they're doing it for all the wrong reasons. They're doing it to save money. And there'll be a time and a place for a 4-day test. We've had 4-day tests loads of times. You know, in the past, we've had 8-day tests. We've had, you know, millions of varieties of cricket. And one of the great things about it is good pretty much whatever way they do it. But in England, 5-day tests, almost essential because of the weather, because of the slow over rates, because of the pitches, all sorts of things. Oh, that was wonderful.
I have actually changed a bit from where I was several years ago. And I used to be, God, no, don't bring in 4-day tests. I remember when first hearing it, when one of the million times it's been floated, going, no. But I agree, in England, 5-day tests absolutely work. In those countries where they are struggling, you look at South Africa, it just played 2 test series. They don't get 3 tests, hardly any. New Zealand are the same. There are a bunch of countries that only get 2 test series. Now for them, cost is a factor.
Yeah, but you could change other things about it. So you could change the revenue model, couldn't you? So that
in a perfect world, everyone gets enough money and they can play 5-day tests.
And there's plenty of money out there.
There is. In the current situation and the circumstances that some teams are in, maybe they could play 4-day tests.
There are ways to do it in that you could change the pitches, you could change the balls, you could do all sort of things. But if you don't want to sort of meddle with the game too much, there is a reason that they settled on 5 days. And it took 100 years of experimentation. And that's what they've settled on. You don't get very many draws anymore. This one finished at 6:28 on the 5th day. And it was kind of awesome, wasn't it? And it wasn't even unusual. I've just been thinking about all the great tests I've seen here. And I reckon I've seen 12 great tests here at Leeds. It's an amazing place. Don't meddle with it. And by the way, there were loads of people. Well, no, there were loads of people. Despite the fact I think it was up to 20 quid from £5 to 20 pounds, school day, work day, all the rest of it, trouble with the weather. Brilliant, just a compelling advert for the game and actually for Headingley, because it is incredible how many great games of cricket there are at this ground.
Every time.
A great advert for the game is right. Thank you very much for joining us across the 5 days here. Thank you for sending in your questions. Thank you for watching. We can't wait to see you back again at Edgbaston.
Masterful.
Thank you.
Masterful, well done.
You wouldn't think he's only 8 years old.